Hello everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations and Crochet. And today is October the 9th, 2025. And yes, I have my little co-host here. The minute he saw that I sat and got settled, he came right over wanting to be picked up. He has a lot of mats in his hair. I need to do a good brushing. Yeah, but he wanted to be part of it, so here he is for as long as he'll stay settled. I don't know how long that is, but anyhow, he's here. So, first of all, I want to start by welcoming everybody to my video. I I have been noticing, because I've been watching lately, I kept wanting to hit 1,800 subscribers. And for well over a month, I'm going to say a month and a half at least, maybe even 2 months, the numbers kept popping up and down from about 1787 to 1791 or 92, and they would go down and they would go up. And in that range, they would pop up and down and up and down and up and down and never were settled. And finally, I want to report that this weekend we got up over 1,800 and it went to 1,802, I think. And last I checked, it was still 1,801. So I'm really happy to report that I've made it over 1,800 subscribers. So you may be new here, and I want to just give you a little bit of background. I'm coming to you from Chatham, Ontario, and that is the southwestern tip of Ontario, which is also the southernmost tip of Canada. And if you follow it across, it is farther south than some of the US states, and it goes right across. And oops, there he goes. I knew he wouldn't be here for long. It actually is on a parallel with Northern California. So when you think of Canada being the cold north, not all of Canada is the cold, barren north. In fact, it's kind of humid here today. I'm all about talking about crochet, obviously. We do have knitters here as well, and I do a monthly mal that includes all kinds of crochet, knitting, and other yarn crafts. This is kind of itchy, and other yarn crafts as well. And I also like to talk about yarn, and you're going to see some yarn today. And I mostly talk about hand-dyed yarn. I have been really focusing on Canadian hand dyers, but for those that have been around a while, you can see this is a wall of expression fiber arts. Definitely not Canadian, but I have pretty much been buying Canadian for probably about 2 years now, mostly because of the exchange rate being so high. And that makes the yarn very, I got something, I don't know what it is. I guess because he was in my lap, I've got hair all over. So I do like to talk about and show yarn, different kinds of yarn. I talk about different bases, and I think it's getting time soon to do another, what do I call it? Educational video on another type of yarn. That should come soon. So that's basically what I focus on. And if that interests you, I really hope you would hit that subscribe button. We'll do a big celebration when I get to the 2,000 mark. And I really do appreciate, I welcome anybody that's new, and I definitely appreciate those of you that have been with me for any length of time, that give me a part of your Thursday every week and come back week after week, and I do appreciate that. The other thing I usually start with is talking about what I am wearing, and I try to make a point of wearing something crocheted every week. I know from the tag that this has merino, silk, yak, baby alpaca. Silk, yak, and baby alpaca. I don't know what yarn that refers to. Merino nylon is your regular. So, silk, yak, and baby alpaca. Makes me wonder if this wouldn't be, uh, what's the sport one called? Mirage Sport. But maybe it has alpaca, but I'm not sure what yarn is in it, and I can't, off the top of my head, I can't tell you the pattern either. But it has a very nice lacy border that I like with this alternating here. I'm pretty sure this will be in my project pages, and I'll look it up, and I will definitely link it in the description box below. And any pattern that I show you today, I'll be showing you a few. I will definitely link below. I have yarn to talk about, but it's almost all, yeah, I think it's all EFA. So I can link Expression Fiber Arts in the bottom. And for those that are new, I am not affiliated in any way. I just really, really like Expression Fiber Arts and all of the different bases they have. And I like to encourage people to follow them, because if you get on their mailing, their email list, they send you a link to a giveaway every month. And every Friday, they have a free pattern that is free for a couple of weeks. And they try to alternate between crochet and knit. I probably have 120 patterns from them. I've been following them for a while now, and they were all free. I may have bought one that I really wanted, but I followed them to get all these free patterns. So, and I'll be talking about one of them a little bit later. So, I will find out what this is and link it below. So many things to cover today. I'm trying to think where I'm going to start and make sure. Oh, I know, before I move on, there was one other thing I wanted to tell you about EFA. For those who've been around, you know that they have this very special color called Raven that was so popular when they first brought it out. It was supposed to be a limited edition color, and it just flew off their shelves several times. So every fall they bring that color back called Raven, and it's a mix of deep dark blues and a bit of black. But every year they do it on a different base, and it'll only be on that base that year and never again. And they just came out, well, actually last week. I could have told you last week and I forgot. But they still have it, and you never know how long it will last. She'll just take it off the site when she feels like it. And they have it right now, I believe, in a base called Wish Glow. I think that's the name of the base they have it in, and that is that a fingering or a DK? I don't know. But if you put Raven into the search bar, it'll come up with it. And for a limited time, it will be available, and it's a beautiful color. I got it last year in another base, and I'm trying to decide if I want to get it again this year. But I just mentioned that to you because it is a sort of a one-of-a-kind, and the base will not be repeated with that color. So I mention it. All right, last week we got started on what I'm calling the dice game. And I really, really have to apologize for how mixed up things were in that video last week. But I did the video and started the game and explained it all the way I expected to go with the pattern that I had selected. It was one of several patterns that looked much the same. And I had looked at them all. And one was a repeat I had done before. And one seemed to have a little more advanced stitches in it. It just looked busier. And given that we're going to be changing the yarn colors randomly, I thought it might not work. So I settled on the one, and it's not, well, I don't think it would be a hard pattern, but I settled on the pattern. I did what I did, and then I went, when I finished the video, to get started on it. And as soon as I got started on it, I realized there wasn't a chart. So it was going to be very, very wordy. And that I still could have handled. But then I found out that it was a UK pattern, meaning that the stitches are different than US stitches. I mean, they're the same stitches with different names. And I just know myself that when I'm going through a pattern, that I have to keep thinking to myself, okay, when it says double, it's really single. And, you know, double, you see double, you don't think, you just do a double crochet and then you'd be wrong. And I thought this is going to be too hard to follow. And I decided I needed to find another one. So I went looking again, and I found one that I think is a little more straightforward. It has a 4-row repeat. 3 of the rows are just basically double crochets, and then 1 row is an open row. Little bit, yeah, you have to pay attention to the open row. But it also had a chart, which in my mind, for all those that are chart readers, would make it a lot easier to follow when you see the diagram than reading everything. Also, it had fewer rows. The other one with 180 some rows, well, we might have been longer than I anticipated trying to finish it. So because I changed the pattern and it had fewer rows, I needed to change the dice, because we rolled 19 plus 5, I think, which 24. That would be a quarter of the pattern that I changed to, done in 1 week. So I thought, oh, I got to re-roll this. So anyway, I'm sorry for the confusion. When I re-rolled, I did put, no, don't listen to my original video of 19. It's really 9. And I also put the change in the description box. Just let me get a sip here. So the pattern is called Achilles, and I got started on it. And this is what it looks like so far. And as you can see, there's the 3-row repeat with, and then the 4th row is this open row, which is just really chains. And then you start again, 3 plus 4. So the diagram gives you a pattern up to row 9, which is the end of the pink. We had 9 rows just by luck. And then we had another 5. That's that green color, we'll say. But the last 4 rows in the pink, they have a bracket around that says this is the repeat. And you could repeat it as many times as you want. I'm just going to follow the pattern and repeat it the number of times that it says to. And then it goes in the chart, it goes into the finish part, and I will follow what that says. So there's what it looks like so far with 9 plus 5 rows. So 14 rows altogether. So depending on what we roll as our number of rows this week, I'll roll once or I may roll twice. If it's a low number, I'll roll again. If it's a high number, we'll just take the 1. Now, one thing I neglected to say, this, by the way, was color 3, and this is color 4. I will keep, as it grows, I'll keep the numbers and the rows in the description box. So if you come on it late, you can still look up the numbers in the description box for the current week. What I neglected to say is, when I roll, if I roll the same color as the previous week, like if I roll this, which was color 4, I'll re-roll. We won't do the same color twice in a row. And hopefully I can get all 6 colors. Somebody asked me about putting more colors in it. I just don't know how you would do that. I mean, I just don't. So anyway, there's what it looks like so far. And I'm quite happy with it, and it feels nice. And I'm using a yarn that is called Luminous Tweed Fingering. Luminous Tweed Fingering from Expression Fiber Arts. And I am using, I believe, yes, it's a 3.5. I can't see it. I believe that's a 3.5 millimeter hook. So I'm going to move the yarn out of the way for the moment. And I have my 2 dice. As you know, I have one that's regular 6-sided, and this other one goes up to 12. Has all the numbers from 1 to 12. So I'm going to roll these 2 dice, and you can make note of it. You can be doing your own roll. You can be using whatever yarn you want. And if you want to take a different pattern, somebody told me they're using a different pattern with worsted, that's totally your choice. Anyhow, well, one should know it. The color number is 1. Color number is 1. And the roll is 5. 1 and 5 rows. Let me write that down. Color number 1, 5 rows. And there's 5 rows, what 5 rows looks like. 5 rows is just kind of medium sized. Should I roll a second one or not? I think I will roll a second one in a minute. But let me go find color 1 back here. Six, 2, 1. Okay, 1 is this kind of gray color. Okay, I like that. So I'll have to go and cake that up because probably tonight or tomorrow I'll be doing that. Now, let's do one more roll. We won't do double rolls probably after this because it's going to get a bit wide. Okay, we have color 5, and we have a roll of 6. Glad they put a dot on there, or I wouldn't know. 5 and 6. So 5 and 6. So what's color 5? I'm glad we're going to maybe get all the different colors in here. There's 2, 6. Oh, okay. And 5 is this kind of brown taupe. It has other colors in it, a fair bit of green in it as well, but it is a brownish color. So those are the 2 colors I'm going to be adding in next. Hopefully next week we get the last 2 colors, and then we know we've got them all. But those are the colors for this coming week. So once again, I'll read them off to you. First comes color 1. We're doing 5 rows. And color 5, we're doing 6 rows. So after this week, we will have 11, 20, 25 rows done, which is a quarter of the way, because it only has, in fact, more than a quarter. I think it has something like 84 rows. So we will probably have no problem finishing it sometime in mid-November. Somebody asked me, more than one person asked me about deadline. I mean, I really wasn't thinking about a deadline. I figure we will roll until we've got ourselves to the end of the pattern, which, if I'm recalling correctly, is 84 rows. When we get to 84, we're done. When we get closer to the end and I see whereabouts we are time-wise, like in the month, I'll make a decision as to exactly what we're going to do. I will probably, I mean, after all this, I think I'd like to see some of them. So I will probably gather the pictures and do a slideshow, and I'll give you a little time after my last roll if you need catch-up time. But right now, I'm not working to a deadline. I'm working to the end of the pattern. So that takes care of that for today. Let's put my yarn in here and kind of get it out of the way for the time being. All right, that's our game. So color 1, 5 rows, color 5, 6 rows. And as I said, I will put it in the description box below, as well as last week's colors. So no problem, it'll always be there where you can find it. All right, I think the next thing I want to do is go on to my holiday minis. As you remember, I have 31, this is a set of 31 minis for Halloween. So it's going to go right up to the end of the month. And I did get me a board, and I did pin last week's on the board, and there they are. Very happy with these colors so far. Right. And they are 10-gram minis, which means they only have about 40 to 45 yards in them. So let's say they even only have 42 or 43, and there's going to be 30 of them. So it's over 1,200 yards total. That's a fairly big project, but you know what? I can guarantee you that in 31 minis, I'm going to find some that I don't like. So what I do like, I'm going to try and make a big shawl or something with it. So for this week, we have to pick out 7 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there they are, sitting there, and we're going to open them one at a time, and I will post them on the board. And I'm just going to rip. Oh, I like that. Wow. And I think she did say some would be sparkles, some would be speckled, some, isn't that pretty? A black sparkle. You can just imagine how much I like that one, because I do use a lot of black. I like black as an accent. I would like a skein or more of that. So you can tell I'm happy with that one. They did say the colors would be moody. Well, moody is okay with me. And the next one, and I want to, once again, oh, wow. I can take a big skein of this too. Navy sparkle. Wow. Oh, these are all things I like. I'd love a couple of skeins of that. You know, would I like a sweater in that? The black or this navy? Yes. I guess I just left out to pick all the colors I really like at the very beginning. Oh, this is a little more variegated. Now, variegated ranks a little lower for me, and it's purples and oranges. So that would be interesting. I wouldn't put them in the same project as those other ones. I don't dislike it. I just would put it in a different kind of project. I may have to sort this into 2, 15 minis and 16 minis. That might make 2 projects. One shawl and whatever. Sometimes she's got these wrapped twice, and other times she doesn't. Oh, Man, this is really, wow. I love this. And again, it sparkled. Maybe there'll be enough sparkles that I can just pull all the sparkles out into one project. Bonnie, were there enough sparkles to make one item? Total, and of course, purple's my favorite, and it's a Halloween color for sure. Okay, next. And if I keep getting sparkles, this was a good choice. Oh, I like this color too. You're right, this is moody, but oh, nice. Blues, a little bit of, it's not a true blue, it's more a teal blue, but there are greens in it as well. See the greens? Oh, I just saw a hint of purple. And of course, there's some black running through it. That's how they made it moody. Just put in some black. That dulls it down a little bit. But I like that as well. Okay, we got 2 more to go. Can't say I like all that squiggly paper. Oh, wow. This is darker than the other, but a very dark purple. And again, sparkles. These are lovely. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 that sparkle already. Oh, I hope she has at least a dozen that sparkle. Wow. And here's our last one for this week. Lots of paper down there. Oh, this is a nice color too, and it will go with the first color. There's a really nice green. That's a green I really could like. Now, there's no actual black showing, but I have to think they put black in the mix to give us this color. I really, really like it. So, here is what we have so far. 4 sparkles, all my favorites. 2 purples, a navy, and a black. I couldn't ask for better than that. So there is what we have so far. And the only one that doesn't really sit well with me would be this one. But all the others I really, really like, especially those sparkles. But even the non-sparkle, I really like that and that and that. Yep. Those are really, really nice. Good. It was a good choice to get this mini set. So I'll put them out of the way for now. And next week we'll get to open 7 more. And we can only hope that there's more sparkles in the set. All right, I'm going to be brief with this next thing, but I have been, can you believe it? I'm the person that says I'm a monogamous crocheter. Now this past year, almost 6 months, I guess, I have been working on 2 at the same time because I would weekly work on a blanket when I took Rose for therapy. And the rest of the time I worked on whatever project I was working on. And that was very unusual for me. But I am currently working on, get a load of this, 3 projects at once. It isn't the most comfortable for me. I know some people like it because they like to move from project to project to keep from getting bored. My problem is I worry about getting things mixed up. I guess I have to be careful. I can have the right hook, but I would be known to mess up the hooks or forget the pattern or what I was. It's just not for me. To give me some variety, if I need a break from my crochet, I will then work on some diamond painting. And I am working on diamond painting at the moment. So it just three complicates things for me. But I have no choice. The dice game has to be done a little bit each week. And I try to do that right away the day after we roll the dice. Also, I am working on my item for the butterfly mal for the month. And have a little bit of a story with it, but I won't spend a long time showing you, as you'll get to see this again at least once, if not twice more. You'll remember the yarn that I had, and I really wanted to do something airy and lacy and to match the laciness of this yarn. This is yak silk. I guess I must have left the name for it. Just a minute. Is this it here? No, that's something else. I know it's yak silk. I think it's called Bohemian, but I won't swear to it. And yak silk lace. I need to say that. So I went looking for patterns. I spent quite a while. I got somebody else to weigh in their opinion, and I settled on a pattern to make a wrap that looked lacy, and it wasn't overly hard, and it had a chart, all the things I liked. And I got working with it, and I realized that first of all, the pattern was, I guess, so open, so lacy, mostly chains, along with this lacy thin fiber. I just knew I would not be able to stick with it. I guess I couldn't handle it the way I would like to. It just seemed too much for me. And I had done, just a small piece. Maybe I should have done more before I decided, but I didn't want to work on it very much and change my mind and frog. So I decided right then and there to frog it and start again and find something. I went back to the drawing board and looked for a pattern where I would be using two strands. So I'm taking it from the center and the outside, and I'm stitching with two strands, which makes it more like fingering weight, which is definitely my preferred weight to work with, which I work with mostly. I don't mind sport, and I will work with DK. It's heavier than I like, but fingering is my base of choice. And I went and looked through the patterns for patterns that would use half as much. This has 680 yards, and I look for things with 340 or 300 to 350. And I finally came up with a pattern that I have made before, and it's a CJ Brady pattern, and it's called Happy Place, and it is a cowl, and I've almost finished it. I wanted to finish it before today, but I got sidetracked. But anyway, when I first started, I was concerned that it didn't look very big. But part way up, you do a V, and then part way up, you change and you start doing it straight. And when I got this far, I blocked it. So I was a day and a half with it on the blocking boards. If I had not blocked it, I would have been done by now. But I just really wanted to see that it would grow and not be so solid. And it did. The bottom half is definitely much looser than the top. So I only have a couple more rows to do here on the straight part. It's supposed to be 5 inches, and I think this is 4 and a bit. So a couple more rows at the top. And then apparently there is a bit of a border that goes around the V part of it. And then you attach it at the back so it makes like a cowl, a bandana type cowl. So that's the other thing I am working on. I'm going to put it aside, and you'll probably see it. Now that's very interesting. The point isn't in the middle. Huh. Did I not block it as much on one side? That's really weird. Oh, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll block it again when I'm all done, and that might straighten it out, but it's it's not in the middle. So that's the second thing I am working on. And I'm going to go back to it after I do our game. I'm going to, oh no, I'm going back to this tonight. I want to finish the little bit there is tonight. It might take a bit of tomorrow, but I'm hoping I can get the couple of rows at the top and the border on it tonight so that tomorrow I can see about blocking it and getting it kind of straight. Oh, for Pete's sakes. And that will be a done thing. Then I will go back to our game and I will work on the next sections of it. So that will be the next couple of days. You know, it's earlier in the week here. Hopefully I will finish that by the weekend. I'm hoping by the weekend I'll have that done. Then the next thing is I am working on another project. It wasn't planned. It's something that came up by surprise, I guess in the middle of September. If you watch Cathy at Yarn with Heart, you'll already know that she received yarn from a friend, and I was the middleman that got it to her. And it used a set of yarn. I have it here. A set of yarn from EFA called Sacred Journey Hues, and it's Moon Gleam Fingering, which is a favorite of Cathy's because it's something she can use. It's cotton and silk. And I said, oh yeah, I have that set as well. Well, the person that sent her the yarn also gifted her a pattern to go with it. So, and it was an EFA pattern. And so in our chatter, we just decided, hey, we're going to work on this pattern together. And we wanted to wait until October to get it started. So I did put it off for a bit. And these, just a sec here. These are the three colors. It has kind of a green, it is variegated. It's not tonal. Had a green and a pink, and it does look pink here, but when I'm working with it, it doesn't look pink. Again, it's variegated pink, but mostly pink. And then it had a third color that is really variegated, and it has purples and the green, teal, and it has a little bit of the pink, but not a lot. Purple, some browns, teals. These three came together in a set. And honestly, I had considered giving this to Cathy as a gift, but of course she's already received it. So we decided to do a project at the same time together, just for the heck of it, and the same pattern. Now, I didn't realize when we were talking until I went to hunt up the pattern that I have done this pattern before. And in fact, I did it last spring, well, more in the winter time, and it's called Keone. And I had done it all in shades of sort of pink. So I have started it. I am this far into it. We did not talk about the order we're going to do it in, so I'm not going to show it yet too much because I want Cathy to decide on her own what order she's going to do the yarn in. I'm using a 4mm hook. I'm using my Leto hook. Can you read that? Oh, there. It's one of my favorite. You can't really see it, can you? Well, it does say 4. I can read that. It's one of my favorite hooks. I use it a lot to the point where it's getting worn here. So I've got a little bit done on it. It has basically 3 sections that you keep rotating through. And one section I don't care for too much. It had a stitch in it that when I made this before, I avoided the stitch. I did something instead. But this time I am going to do the stitch. Not every row that it says, but I am going to put the stitch in occasionally so that it will be my something new. And then hopefully I can submit this for Cathy's make along for October, because you have to have a variegated yarn, and I definitely have that, and you have to have something new. Well, the yarn colors are new to me, but the stitch is also new to me. So I'm working on the Keone, and once I finish my monthly mal, yes, weekly I'll have to do our dice thing, but this is going to be my main focus for the month of October. So those 3 patterns that I'm talking about will all be linked below. I will only link EFA's site, not the specific yarns, because the yarns and colors, they change quickly. They sell one color and they sell out, then they bring in another color. So whatever color you want to use is up to you. So let's put that back there out of the way. And we are finished with that. So that's all of the projects I'm working on. A lot of whips. And having whips, too many whips, is not my thing. So hopefully by the end of October, well, I'll definitely have that done. And, well, it'll be into November before I finish the other. But anyway, we will proceed the best we can. All right, the next thing, I did want to show you some yarn today, but I got a surprise. You might remember a couple weeks ago, I was talking all about the difficulties in sending things to the US, and then our mail went on strike, so I can't send things within Canada. I guess I'm going to have to look into a courier service at some point, because I have some Christmas gifts to get in the mail. But I think I mentioned that I had made an order with EFA, and I made it in either late August. I think I made it in August, but it had some pre-orders in it. And I got notified in September, just days before Canada Post told us they're going on strike. And I thought, oh, good. They've sent my parcel, and it's going to get held up somewhere about the border. And then because mail isn't happening here in Canada, it would sit there. And I figured it's going to sit there for the duration of the strike, which who knows how long it could be. It could be months, unless the government steps in again and mandates them back. So I thought, okay, I guess I'm not going to see that for a while. Well, I got a big surprise today. When I got home from class, there, sitting on my front step, was a parcel, and I knew right away it was from EFA, because it's an EFA package, their color. Nobody else uses this. And it turns out that they are using, like it said, it went to ePost Global in Mississauga, but that must be the local office of this GLS. They must be using this courier service instead of the mail. I guess they must have figured out, oh, we got problems in Canada, we won't use the postal system, we'll use this instead. And there was a parcel of some yarn I had ordered probably in late August. I know it was shipped at the end of September. So I have some yarn to show. I have other yarn to show too, but I was happy to see this yarn. So first of all, I ordered a kit. I think I've seen this several times before. and not ordered it. I wish they would put their labels somewhere else on the package, not where you have to open the package. But anyway, this is crema sock and crema sock fingering, because they have it also in worsted, but you know me, I don't use much in the way of worsted yarns. And it is called Siren Song Hues. And something about it, I've seen it before, and I passed it up and I thought, oh, I really love these colors. I have to make something in these 3 colors. And if I can't find something to use the 3 of them, I will maybe use the 2 of them, and then I'll have a navy, because I love navies, that I can put with some of my other blues. But my intent right now is to use these 3 together. Now, you can expect that I won't be using them until next year, because I'm pretty booked up, I guess is the best word, with things that I really want to get done yet this year. Now, let me just tell you quickly about crema sock. I believe it's 70% merino, yes, and 30% mulberry silk. And it has, the 2 of them have 960 meters. So that means there's 480 meters in each one. 480 meters means over 500. Well, the yards here, 1,050 would be 525 yards. Oh no, there's 3 of them, not 2. Okay, so it has less. So each skein would have 320 meters. 320 meters would be about 350 yards in each one of these. So I'll be watching for a pattern that uses 3 colors to make those in. I haven't ever in the past done much with crema sock, but recently I have been ordering it. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so that was the kit. Then I also got some individuals. The first one is a repeat. I have ordered this before and I really, really like it. It's called Authentic Alexandrite. And you may remember seeing this before in navy. It's a little darker than the one in that kit. But it's crema sock as well. Oh, there, 320 meters, 350 yards. Merino and mulberry silk. I just really like this navy. I think it will go with a lot of things because I love blues and I have lighter blues that could go with it, or a blue and white. There's one would go with something like that, and that's arcane fibers. So I have lots of other things like that that I could put this navy with. Okay, then I got some oopsies. That's why I made the order. There are a number of oopsies I really like. The first one is called Connoisseur, and it's alpaca silk lace, which is 50% baby alpaca and 50% mulberry silk. And I'm sure you can see why I really liked that color. And when it's an oopsie, it's a good chance to get it. There's actually, and maybe that's why it's oopsie, that little bit of black running through. But it's very pretty. I really like it. And I got another oopsie. I don't order, if you look back here, you don't see a lot of pink. And I do like pink, so I thought I'm going to try some. Now, this is Oasis fingering. I love Oasis fingering. 50% camel and 50% mulberry silk. 457 meters, 500 yards. It's a little thinner than some fingerings, and you get more. See, it says oopsie. You get more yardage with Oasis fingering. Feels lovely. And I really like that color of pink. And maybe I can find some other really nice color to go with it. You know, I kind of like pinks and browns together. I know I'll find something it can go with. And finally, I ordered another oopsie, and I liked it so much that I ordered two of it. I thought, you know, I do a lot of one skein wonders, and I combine things, but I wanted two of this color because I liked it so much. I wanted to make a larger project. I didn't know if I would make a wrap or a bigger shawl or something with this color. So I put two of them in my cart. They were oopsies, and it's called Orenda Oasis Fingering, again, camel and mulberry silk, in a color that I could see making a wrap in this, or one of those really big um, cowls, you know, the long, droopy, tall. But a wrap really appealed to me. Isn't that a beautiful color? And I always let my cart sit a few days because I want to decide, do I really want this? And is this what I want or that? And I went back to process this, and they said, not enough stock. I could only get one. I was kind of disappointed, but I thought, still one, I love this color and I'll find something to make out of it. I'm thinking maybe the falling leaves. People tell me you need a little more than one skein, but this has 500 yards. And then as I was looking just to see something else to fill my cart, I saw they had this in the non-oopsie. And I thought, do I dare? And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to get the non-oopsie and the oopsie, and I'm going to have a way to compare. How different is an oopsie from the regular one? Well, you be the judge. I don't think the color is all that different. I mean, you could get that much difference in two skeins dyed together. They tell you they're never the same to alternate them. So I can't see the difference. The only difference I really see is that, as I mentioned, it seems to have it's not as noticeable there. It seemed to have what I thought was a little bit of black running through it. It's actually not black, it's darker. And I don't see that darker vein running through this one. But otherwise, and there's a little bit where it didn't take the dye as much. Honestly and truly, I could, I guess it's the one that's not an oopsie looks more like a mistake to me than the oopsie. But the colors, the tone of it are the same. And I'll probably put them together in a project if I decide to make a wrap. So I'm glad I did it. It showed me, and it shows you, that their oopsies are not a major problem. They always have at least $3 off the skein. Sometimes I've gotten some where they've had $5 and even $6 off the skein when it's an oopsie. I don't know how they decide that. Maybe if it's something they want to move, I don't know. But to really say there's a lot of difference there, yeah, this looks maybe to be a little tone. I'm sure when I'm working with them, if I did one and then the other, you'd see a change in color. So I probably have to do a little bit of alternating with these skeins. But I can't be dissatisfied with that oopsie skein. It looks awful good to me. All right. So I think that's where I'm going to call it today. I did have one other thing I was going to do, but I am going to put it off to next week. And that is, I want to do a review of an item that I've been wanting to do for several months. But I'm going to leave the review of that item for next week. Next week, we will move on with the minis, and we will move on in the next step with our dice game. So October is going to be a lot of the same every week while we proceed on the various things we're doing. So I really hope that you are interested in seeing what develops with these various projects. And I know some of you are also working on the dice game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're doing with it. And we'll decide on something to show them off when we get to the end. But right now, there is no deadline date, so don't worry about it. Let's just progress each week as we shake up more numbers. So I look forward to seeing you again next week as we progress on all of these projects that I've been showing you. One will be an FO next week for sure. So until then, happy hooking.